trouble if they knew. I'm trying hard to make you see. All that you are is all that I need. I know that it's a secret and that I gotta keep it, but I want the lights on, yeah, I want the lights on. And I don't wanna run away anymore. Leave the lights on, leave the lights on. I know that it's a secret and that I gotta keep it, but I want the lights on, yeah, I want the lights on. And I don't wanna run away anymore. Leave the lights on, leave the lights on. I know that it's a secret and that I gotta keep it, but I want the lights on, yeah, I want the lights on. And I don't wanna run away anymore. Leave the lights on, leave the lights on. I know that it's a secret and that I gotta keep it, but I want the lights on, yeah, I want the lights on. And I don't wanna run away anymore. Leave the lights on, leave the lights on, leave the lights on.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the British Touring Car Championship here on Motive Racing. We are here at the Snetterton, and I'd like to say hello to everyone. My name's Kelly Davis, I'm your commentator, joined as normal, sweet and sticky in the commentary box by Mathew Duffin. Good evening, Matt. How are you?
Good evening, Kelly, my friend. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm very, very well, my friend. Are you in good spirits this evening?
Very high spirits tonight, Kelly. Looking forward to some great touring car action here.
Absolutely, so am I for sure. And so we are round, what are we? Round 6, aren't we?
Yes.
Of the, we'll say British Touring Car Championship, because if you've been joining us on this one, it's been mimicking the best we can on Project Cars, the British Touring Car season. We're here at Snetterton, which is a regular favourite on the calendar for British Touring Car, and a cracking good track, isn't it, Matt?
Beautiful circuit, very tricky, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of sharp corners, and then you got your good old start straight and the Bentley straight as well to keep you entertained for some overtaking action tonight. Plenty of action you will see as well, a lot of overtaking opportunities, and very scary moments like this part here coming down towards Brundle and Williams, I do believe it is. No, not Williams. Brundle and Nelson. That's it. The Snetterton course was slightly redesigned a couple of years back. I don't know, about 8 years ago now, wasn't it? I think it's getting on a little bit. It was a few years ago that they changed the track. This bit that they're on at the moment, you can see at the moment, just dropped through Bomb Hole there, and towards the end of the lap. This is all from the original track. It's the infield section that is new, but we'll go through that as we go through this evening. So, normal Sunday night touring car kind of format. So it's a practice session at the moment. This is not relevant to the grid order. It's just a practice session, so 10-minute practice session. Then we'll have a 25-minute sprint race, which is in reverse grid on championship order, which again we'll let you know that a bit later on, what that order is as we get closer to that point. So 25-minute sprint race, then we have a 15-minute qualifying session for the feature race a bit later on tonight, which has a mandatory pit stop in it. So that's our format for this evening. The weather's dry at the moment. I got to admit, I don't know what the forecast is for the rest of the meeting. Have you any idea on that one, Matt? I don't. I can have a brief look quickly to see what that one is. Yeah,
I believe the Tier 2s, I didn't get a chance to watch Tier 2s this evening, and I didn't compete in the Tier 2s this week, but I do believe they had rain.
Light cloud for the practice session, light rain in the sprint race, rain in the qualifying coming up for overcast feature race, so light rain in race 1.
Light rain, so look out for the BMWs in race 1, because the BMWs seem to be a lot stronger in the wet, and the Megans seem to be a lot stronger in the dry. Of all the touring cars, they're the only two that we've actually got on track, and it's mostly Renault Megans. As you see X-Mart here hanging the back end out, the Renault Megane is probably the best touring car on the game, although it still has its moments, and very, very light on the back end, but a stronger car in the dry than anything else. Come wet, the BMW comes into its own a little bit, but we've only got 2 runners in the BMW this evening. Unorthodox, Dan there in the white one, and in the Pirelli colours, you've got Gary 131 in the other BMW this evening. You're a bit of a fan of this BMW, aren't you, Matt?
I like the BMW. Raced it in a previous league. I can get on with it. I think it's a nice car to drive.
Yeah, I've tried it a few times. I've driven mostly the Megane in the couple of seasons that I've been involved in, but I've tried the BMW, and as we see Gary getting very loose on the back end and dropping it there. I enjoyed driving it. I just couldn't make it go forward very quickly. But to be fair, I couldn't make the Megane go forward very quickly either. But that's the way of it. The Megane is a little bit easier to drive than the BMW.
Surprised to see Gary losing it as much as I'm here tonight, Kelly. Sorry for cutting you off there. He's home track, this one for Gary 131. He's a bit of an expert around Snetterton. He does seem to enjoy this track more than any other, so it could be one to keep an eye out for in that BMW, especially in that first wet race. Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, him dropping it there, it is a practice session, so yeah, we'll let him off that. But Gary certainly had his moments. We know he's quick. We know he's one of the front runners for sure, but he does have these little moments where he just drops the car a little bit, as do a lot of the drivers. But for Gary, it usually happens somewhere critical, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does normally in a crucial time of the race as well. When he's just got a couple of cars, he's just passed a couple of cars, or whether he's just gaining on a few cars, he doesn't seem to make a mistake when it really counts, not when it doesn't seem to matter. But we'll keep an eye on him throughout the evening, and as well as every other driver that's on the grid, on Orthodubs especially. We've seen him in the wet a few times, be quite a specialist in the wet weather conditions, and it'll be an interesting one to see how he can do.
Yes, you're quite right, and certainly Dan on Orthodubs has had a cracking good run on the wet races that he's competed in just recently. Certainly is, becoming the Rainmeister is Daniel. So yeah, it'd be good to watch him and see how he gets on. We see Delore there going a tad wide, well, actually a lot wide, on the last corner there. Tricky last section, tricky last corner. Isn't it, Matt? It's you're still kind of offline for the previous corner, and then it kind of jumps out at you a little bit.
It does. You're kind of coming around the bomb hole and Coram quite quickly, and then as you sort of still kind of turning right, you're sort of hitting the brakes. Now you want to obviously brake in a straight line as much as you can, and the corner comes up to you rather quickly, and it's a corner you've got to get right. Big sausage curb on the inside of the corner. You don't want to hit that. That'll send you wide. You don't want to run wide. You'll be straight onto the grass. And one you've really got to take with great precision. It's probably the trickiest corner, either that or Brundle and Nelson, the trickiest corners on this part. But all of them at that back section of the track, the last sector is really one to nail if you are to get anything out of it, especially when we get to the qualifying session a bit later on in the evening.
Absolutely. So just at the moment we're on board with Delore, and he's just coming through the new section here. I say new, as I said, I don't know what it is, 7 or 8 years old now. The new configuration, Snetterton 300. This is where they go back onto the old circuit and onto the back straight. And as Matt was saying there, the last section is really the one you need to nail. As you come up to it here, again, this is a quite unique corner, isn't it, Matt? You've got an awful lot of speed, and then you've got to kind of slow it down, do the first part of the section, and then do a real major right-hander there, isn't it? It's kind of, you're setting yourself up for that right-hander when you come through the left, but still try not to drop it as you come through that left.
As well as that, you then got the bomb hole to deal with as well, which you kind of come out the Brundle and Nelson chicane, you then sort of drop down a little dip, then you come back out the dip, trying not to get the car too unstable as you hit that. You've got to get yourself right for Coram, easy to run a bit wide and towards the grass there. Then you've got to set yourself up, like you say, for that final corner. And it is, for me, the trickiest part of this circuit. Now, I'm not a big Snetterton fan to race, to watch as a spectacle, fantastic. To race, not a massive fan of it. But that last sector in particular is where if you're going to really do anything in a race or do anything in a qualifying session, it's that last sector which is do or don't sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm with you to an extent. I quite like driving this track, but only just recently, to be fair. I've kind of found a groove around it that I'm happy with, that kind of pays me back. But I mean, let's face it, every track on the British Touring Car Championship is a good one, and is always a good spectator watch. It's although Formula One today did have its moments. Anybody who hasn't seen it, sorry, we might talk about it. But today's track, today's Formula One race had its incidents, but touring car is a different level, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's a different level of racing.
Touring car's a different breed of racing, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
You won't get these F1 drivers lasting 5 minutes in a touring car race.
No. We've said it so many times, haven't we? Stick Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen in one of these with the guys in the British touring car, and then see how they get on. Because
that's what this separates the boys from the men. The speed and the G-force that the F1 drivers pull, it's nothing to the tit for tat you get in the touring cars, if you will.
Absolutely, and that's us not taking anything away from Formula One and the spectacle that it is, and the drivers are. But as you said, it's a different breed. It's a different type of racing. Do you know what I mean? It's not. Touring car is more of a dogfight than a precision demonstration, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So you do get a bit more action in the racing. So yeah, and not too long to wait now for the British touring car season to start.
19 days.
19 days. I knew you'd know. I knew you'd know exactly how long it's going to be. We kick off at Thruxton, which is one of my favourites, usually because me and Dan tend to that's the one we go to normally in normal times, but Donington Park will be the one we're going to this year, as well as yourself, Matt.
I'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll all be
able to see Matt Neal together and then cheer on him.
And shake his hand, and
wear
ask him.
Halfords Yuasa. Oh, it's not Yuasa. They've lost Yuasa. The Halfords Cataclean coats and caps and things.
Yeah, we've had a conversation about that earlier today, haven't we? Yes. No chance. The Honda thing is one thing, but Halfords, no chance. Sorry, Halfords, if you're watching, you're not my bag. Sorry about that.
Shall I run us through the championship standings?
That's probably a good idea before I insult anybody else at Halfords.
Right. So we have Laney, who leads the championship at the minute, 15 points clear of John Boy. Excuse me, with Delore P3. He's 33 points off the back of the championship leader Laney. Andy, 84 points off the back of that, and he's really struggled later on in this championship after a good start to his season. Defending champ Exmart, well, he's over 100 points behind the championship leader as well, down in 5th. Dan, 6th place, what can he do tonight? Fury in 7th. Don't see Fury on the list tonight, so that's a shame for him. Gary, after a good weekend last week, a 1st and a 3rd. Gary really looking then for strong points tonight to climb up the leaderboard, maybe above Fury, with Fury not being here. Emo Guy's then down in 9th, but again, no Emo Guy on that list, so he's not going to score massively. WSRCJ then in 10th place, with Lauder in 11th. Nickthevilla is 12th, Vliegurk down in 13th, Popeneep 14th, the Greek 15th, and Avo Alfonso not here again, and he's only finished 3 races out of 4 that he's entered this year. He's not even started the other 6, as well as this first one tonight. So he could be done for the season. But it's reverse grid, or it's reverse championship order for the grid for race 1. So I'll just run you through that now. So the grid will be as the drivers will, when they've finished readying up, fine-tuning their setups and getting ready for this wet race, will be ready to go. They have 13 seconds to do so. The Greek will lead us away from Popeneep, Vliegurk, Nickthevilla, Lauder, WSRCJ, Gary 131 on Orthodubs, Exmar, Andy, Delore, John Boy, and Laney in P13. That will be the standings. It'll be a manual formation lap for them guys to take over from us.
Yes, indeed. So as Matt said, the lineup in reverse championship order. So these guys have done this plenty of times before, so they're all getting really quite good at it now. So you'll see them take up their positions, and they'll do a formation lap as such, and we will start a rolling start for the sprint race as we do every week. Yes, indeed. So in the wet, should be interesting. Looking forward to some good racing here this evening. You can see the scary tree there in the background.
Not there anymore.
No, fell over.
Blew over last year.
Yeah.
In what was a sad year, nothing else really happened in 2020 but the scary tree blow over, I don't believe.
Yeah, that was about the highlight of that year, really, wasn't it? Yeah.
No pandemic.
Yeah. Did ruin a lot of things. There you go. We're on the way out of it, Matt.
Yeah, we are, hopefully.
Hopefully, yes, indeed.
Hopefully, just reading in the comments, Special Forces Group SFG, let's go Dan. The wall says go Dan, good luck says G. Kieran Argent, is that rain? It is rain, Kieran, you are quite right.
Yeah, well
you've
spotted.
got this, Dan. Sticky and Sweet says the Evil Scotsman, and RIP Scary Tree says Jamie Brazier. I wonder if we'll get a few RIPs for the Scary Tree tonight, as you'll see it quite regular. Poor old Snetterton. Jamie Brazier's local track, Snetterton. And I do believe he's got tickets for the touring cars there, which will be the first touring car race of this season to have fans in.
Yes.
I'm very puzzled at the minute, Kelly, by the spectator issue.
Right.
Reading an article yesterday, the Snooker World Championships at the Crucible in Sheffield hosted 33% of its capacity.
Yes.
But yes. We're allowed to sit within 2 meters of someone and cough all over them, but we can't stand in a field and watch the motor racing.
No, which is a really good point. Yes, I believe the Crucible, are they not doing 30% one day, 60% the next, and 100% on the third day?
I don't know. I just read yesterday that Ronnie O'Sullivan was playing or something, and it was at 33% capacity. And I thought, oh, that's good. We can't go and stand out, though, in 19 days' time to watch the touring cars.
No.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Well, yes, there is some inconsistencies, that's for certain, sure, with things like this. But, I saw Steve Davis was on Sunday Brunch this morning. He was saying that the capacity gets bigger every day up to full capacity on the last day at the Crucible. That's what he was saying. He was also talking about the band that he's in, and it was reasonably rubbish.
Ah, brilliant. Lauder here is ahead of behind WSRC, but yet on the reverse grid order he should be in front, so I'm not sure what's happening there. But everybody else is in order as they round the final corner then, and the Greek's going to lead them over the line, so you can't overtake until it's green here. And the Greek has decided to go the minute he came out that final corner, and over the line we go, and this race is now underway.
Yes, indeed. So the Greek leads him out into the first turn. First turn's quite a quick one through here. So the first overtaking opportunities going to be down into the next. There's Putin. He's going to go down the inside. He's got it done already before he even got to the corner. Nickthevilla and Vigla in there as well. And one of the BMWs, Gary, getting involved as well. As they all get through that corner reasonably cleanly by the looks of things. So, who was that?
Bit of a nudge up the rear from, I think that was Lauder up the back of Nickthevilla there, and that's it. This has allowed Gary to have a bit of a run on the pair of them. WSRCJ's having a look back on Gary on the outside as well as they come down towards Agostini here, and Gary still in the middle of the two Renault Megans. He's got past the Greek, so he's gone up into 5th place. He's just a lot been put out towards the grass there by Lauder, and back comes Jay at him up the inside to Gary for a brief moment. They're up to 4th. He's been punted in the rear by
the Greek.
The Greek then just punts Gary in the rear, and Gary well off coming through Hamilton then as they head towards Argy's now, and the Greek slowing right down, pulling to the side. That'll be a yellow flag, so hopefully we don't see drivers overtaking there. But to Laurie, he's had a bit of a steady one, as has John Boy and Exmar. Andy's made his way up into P7.
Yes, indeed. Good start for Andy. Let's say Exmar, Delore, all this lot, Laney, all these guys.
Just to say, Kelly, sorry, the Greek has let Gary through.
Okay, right, he's giving it back to him, so that was the right thing to do. To be fair, so it's very difficult when you're in a tight situation with these cars not to have a bit of bumping and pushing, probably not deliberate.
Hey, that's touring cars for you. That's touring cars for you.
Certainly is. He's trying some Matt Neal techniques for certain, sure. First one of the evening.
First one of the evening. Bum. As Lauder's just gone up the inside, coming out the final corner then of WSRCJ. Dan's now trying to have a look. He'll have to go around the long way round unless he can do him in a straight line. Keep your eyes on Gary tonight and let's see his progression in the wet in that BMW, see what he's capable of. There's Dan then coming in towards Rich's corner. He's looking around the outside of Jay, and is he going to get that move done? He's going to be brave to keep it around the outside. He has done it. Can he get it back across to defend his line? No, I think Jay's managing to keep there just enough. I tell you what, he has done it. He's managed to get across, defend his line.
That was brave.
Can't get past Lauder, and Dan there showing the confidence of the BMW in the wet as he gets around the outside of Rich's. And look at the power out the corner there, especially on the hairpin corners. That BMW can get its traction on the rear wheels out the corners, and he's going around the outside as they come onto the infield section, and has got Lauder, so he's up into P4.
Lauder as well. Yeah. So Daniel in that one of those BMWs, certainly on the move. Gary was, when you just mentioned him last, he was 9 seconds off the lead. He's now 7. So within us speaking for 10-15 seconds, he's making up time quickly. So watch Gary come back through the pack. He's got a few seconds back. He's got a few seconds to catch Exmar, and then he gets into this because we're basically Putney in first place and everyone else in second, really, as they're all so really close. The whole field only covered by 12 seconds total, but But 5
one thing
seconds
you're not
for the
really
main
seeing
bit.
here, Kelly, is you're not seeing the guys who's leading the championship come through the field at a great rate of knots, overtaking the guys at the front. You know, we're coming on to the end of lap 3 to start, or what will be the third racing lap in just a moment. And you're not really seeing these guys who are leading the title roaring through the field. For the BMWs, it seems to be a bit of a better car in the wet than the Renault Megane.
Yeah.
You know, no one's really making any progression. Andy's had a bit of a good couple of laps, but that's about it. As he's looking to make a move on Lauder, coming up the inside towards Coram. Lauder closes the door on that one, though. Yeah, the championship lead is just sort of comfortable at the back at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll see how that pans out as the race moves on, as we're only on lap 4, or just coming on to our 4th lap. So we'll see how that pans out. But we're expecting the likes of. I mean, Andy's made good progress. We've got Laney here. Laney's looking racy here. As look at this lot coming down 2 by 2 by 2. Yeah, you wouldn't get that in a Formula 1 race on lap 4, would you? You know,
you definitely wouldn't. They'd be still behind the safety car. There's too much spray around.
Oh, that's right. And
look who's on the back of this pack, though, of X-Martin, Delore and Laney. Gary, right back on the back of this pack now, Kelly. So we said watch out for the BMW's pace. And Laney here has just got past X-Martin Delore, so he's now ahead of the championship leader in this race. And Gary, he's not... Oh, Delore, a bit wide onto the grass. He's had a bit of a wiggle there. And that's going to give Gary the momentum to get through as they come down towards Agostini.
Yes, indeed, and Dan's done Nickthevilla into 3rd place, so Dan's up to 3rd in that other BMW, and we can see that that Gary's moving forward with this, certainly looking racy in that BMW. Looking for a way round.
Pope bit deep. Pope deep into Oggies, as was Vliga here, and Dan's just been there. There you go, mate, on your bike, off you go. See you in a bit.
Whoa, look. Dan's just done Vigla and right into, absolutely.
Popeneep and Vlee went deep into Oggies, and Dan had the door left wide open, the traction out the corner with them two on the grass. Through he goes, easy as you like.
Yes, indeed. Certainly got the bit between his teeth this evening, hasn't he? He was. I joined him, or he joined us to watch the Formula 1 this afternoon. So spent some time with him today. So he's obviously been inspired by the racing that he saw today, and he doesn't need any encouragement, does he? He don't need any encouragement.
He doesn't need any encouragement to have to make a move or two, especially not in the wet conditions, like we said in practice. Bit of the wet master today, and I think looking at this pace at the moment, looking at the 2 BMWs of Gary and Unorthodox, they are the guys that's got the pace. Gary last lap 2 seconds quicker than Dan, who's out in the lead. He was pretty much 3 or 4 seconds quicker than the rest of the pack, because he's just made a move on Laney then. Gary making his way through the field. Andy and John Boy in a bit of a scuffle here with Nickthevilla for P4, 5 and 6. So these two obviously still wanting to get championship contentions done. John Boy obviously champion from season 5, I do believe.
Right.
In the touring cars. As Andy's going up the inside of his at the hairpin corner. They all kind of...
Gary's got it done as well.
Yeah, it's... I don't know, just these Megans seem to be a bit slidey in this wet weather. I don't know about you, Kelly, but they just seem to make... is that Nickthevilla and Andy just making a bit of a contact together there? These Megans just seem a bit wayward, running wide a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we know from experience, and those of you watching who've driven them, the Megane, the touring cars in general, are not as easy as you think they are. You know, you would think that on this game, it seems to be a lot of the single-seater stuff is planted, and you'd also think that like the touring cars and the Clios and stuff like that would be properly planted. So we see Laney going very deep. And Gary giving Andy a nudge there. A little bit feisty there from Gary, I think. But these cars are not easy to drive. I actually find the Megane better in the wet to drive, easier to handle. It's not quite so unpredictable as it normally is. In dry conditions, the rear tyres never warm up.
Oh, Gary's having a look.
He's having a look indeed.
He's a brave boy to get the job done here.
Yeah.
And he's done it.
But he does.
Easy.
Yes,
easy. The BMWs, they've got so much confidence.
Got so much more grip, haven't they, than the Meganes? As I said, the Megane, for my opinion, actually feels more planted in the wet than it does in the dry. It's a little bit more predictable, but certainly the BMWs can have got it. Superior grip, haven't they?
Gary's now is right on the back of John Boy and Vlee. He's put a bit of daylight between himself and Andy as John Boy and Vlee are battling for third and fourth here, side by side coming down the start straight. And look at Gary, look at the momentum Gary's got. He is flying at the moment, crawls onto the back of him. He'll tuck in behind Vlee as John Boy gets past him. Now will he go to the inside? How early does he go to the inside? Vlee doesn't really defend it. He goes now, and he later on the brakes. That'll be Gary's. P4 for him.
Yeah.
Dan, look at Dan. Dan's 4 seconds
Dan's
up the
checked
road.
out. Yeah.
Gary's all over the back of John Boy and Potnik now. Look at him. He's going round the outside of Palmer's, round the outside of John Boy, defending champion John Boy from 2 years ago. I say defending champion, sorry, champion of 2 years ago. Gary's driving around the outside of him as they're coming down towards Agostini. This is a horrible corner as well. It's a lot tighter than what it is. And Gary's done. Job done, look. BMW. He's now... look, there's daylight between Gary and John Boy on the back of Potney.
Yeah. Potney's going to get it in the next couple of corners. Oh, as he goes wide.
He's gone wide.
Yeah, that's going to make life easy for Gary. So he's done that one. Now he can go after Dan. So we are lap 6. Gary took out lap 1.
Lap 1, yeah.
Lap
1
was 9 seconds behind the lead after lap 1. Lap 6, he's 5 seconds behind the lead, but he's in second place.
Yeah.
That's quite a drive. That BMW is working a treat around this Snetterton circuit, isn't it?
It is. Now we'll have to see what happens later on as Jay and Jay and Lodder side by side for P12 and 11 here, coming down the Bentley straight towards Brundle and Nelson then. Who's going to get this one done? I think Lodder's just managed to get himself in front. Yeah, he has.
That was an interesting line from, it was Nickthevilla, I think. Yeah, missed that part of the corner completely there.
I don't think we're seeing the same things tonight.
We're not.
No, G's on the broadcaster, isn't he? So I don't think we're seeing the same cameras tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm on board with Andy right at the moment.
Right, okay. I'll jump on with Andy so we know we're on the same guy as on stream.
Okay. I'm on board with Andy at the moment, and he's just behind little gap to Potney, who's on the back of John Boy. But I'm expecting John Boy to accelerate and pull away. Excuse me, I've got a little tickly cough tonight. Do excuse me. But Andy's coming back on the back of these pair. The other good battle is looking like Laney, Delore, and Nickthevilla all in close company.
Yeah, Delore's he's right on the back of Nickthevilla, who he's trying to catch Flea. Laney's trying to catch the back of them. Yeah, good little battle this. Delore's looking to pull out now on Nickthevilla as they come towards Agostini. He's got that one done. Before they get to the braking, before they get in towards the corner. Vliegek a bit wide there, so Delore could get a better run out the corner and maybe hunt him down towards Hamilton and Oggies.
Hamilton, yeah.
Again, so this very wide is Vlee.
That Hamilton corner is probably my favourite corner on the track.
Yeah.
Viegler. Oh my God.
Dear.
Viegler, there's a couple of people behind you, haven't it yet? As he bashes into everybody there, one side and the other. Nickthevilla taking another very interesting line across the grass. You'll find the grass is wet, Nick. Probably not the best traction out there, but Delore gets away with that as the guys behind him still kind of scrapping for those positions. Laney right up the back of Viegler now, and as they come down into... I forget all the names. Thank you. That's it.
Brundle and
Nelson. Yeah. And always know this one's the bomb hole. So you can't forget that one, can you?
No, you can't forget that one.
No.
Oh, whoa! Laney, a hop, skip, and a jump, and bashes into the wall. And that is a hefty shunt that's going to cost him a lot of time. And the guys who's leading the title here, Delore's only up to P6. Laney's not having the best of nights. Strange one in this first race. Obviously, conditions look a bit better later on, but strange one in this first race at the moment.
Yes, indeed, and we're not going to flip onto it, but Gary is catching Dan. He's brought it down to 3 seconds. When he gets a bit closer, we'll have a look at that and have Battle of the Beamers a bit later on, I think, with nearly 9 minutes to go. I think we'll have Battle of the Beamers before we get to the end, as long as Gary doesn't drop it. Of course, Dan drops it for that matter. Do you know what I mean? It's quite easy for both of them to drop it. Otherwise, as you say, championship contenders. I think John Boy's in the championship hunt, is he? He's dragged himself up to third place. Who else is in the championship hunt? Andy up to fifth. Is Laney's the one?
Andy's kind of in there as well. John Boy's second, only 15 points off of Laney, who leads this title. Delore in third place, 3 points off. Well, with Laney having a bit of a poor race, Delore and John Boy are taking full advantage of this. Andy, he's up P5. He's having a good race. Could pull some points back. X-Mark seems to be struggling. He's not going to point a whole lot of points back. With only a couple of what we've got left. 1, 2, 3 tracks left this season. 6 races left. I don't think Dan's in it. 108 behind. But a win tonight could sort of pull him in to get a couple of places up the standings here. But yeah, Delore and John Boy and Andy are the three to watch, with Laney not having the best of rounds.
Absolutely. And I was just going to jump to do you know what? I know why I'm struggling reading my tablet and reading the comments, because I haven't put my glasses on. I knew there was something missing. Oh, look at that. I can see the track now. Get on. I was just going to have a look through some of the comments. J Palm, who's driving the BMW? Well, pay attention, mate, will you please?
Yeah,
it's
that'll be first and second.
Yeah, that'll be Dan and Gary. That'll be first and second in the BMWs. And what have we got? Evil Scotsman, did you enjoy your birthday, KLF? Yes, I did, very much so. Thank you very much for asking. I had lots of lovely messages.
Got a Honda jacket.
I got a Honda jacket. I got a Red Bull jacket.
I got a Honda jacket.
I got a Red Bull jacket. Just happens to have a Honda engine in it, doesn't it?
I received a lovely picture of you sending me, pointing to the Honda logo of the jacket.
Absolutely. Well,
that's all the other images.
Yeah, it's only the Honda one you saw, wasn't it?
Yeah,
for sure. Yes, I did have a lovely lawnmower jacket. So I'm turning into quite the Honda fan. And I've got the best lawn in my street, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? Because you can rely on Honda for a good lawnmower. The best lawnmower and generators, to be fair. Really good generators.
X-Mark's just made a move up the inside of Nickthevilla for P7. Then Vliegok's on the back, but X-Mark's trying a bit deep. Here comes Nickthevilla back at him as a side-by-side going down towards Hamilton corner now. It's only a quick lift off, a bit of a dab on the brakes maybe in the wet.
That was going to happen, wasn't it?
Both seem to go a bit deep there. Oh, Jay's gone all over the curb as well, but manages to keep it going. Yeah, he managed to keep it going. Gary's starting to catch Dan now.
Yep, only 2 seconds now behind him. They've dropped John Boy by Dan's 11 seconds ahead of John Boy, but John Boy's going to be the best of the Renaults this evening. Seems to be that the BMWs do really come alive in these wet conditions. But Gary is hunting Dan down. Gary's had more time in the BMW. He spent more time driving that type of car
last season, and I think the season before as well.
Yeah.
In fact, I think, if I remember rightly, Gary would have been up for the title last year had he not had to go and fetch his shopping one night from the delivery man. So
yes, that's a complete contradiction in terms, isn't it? Delivery man. Well, deliver the shopping. You don't have to go get it. Do you know what I mean?
Open my door, get it in the freezer and the cupboards and the fridge.
Yeah,
I'm busy.
Yeah, let me know when you're done.
Yeah, touring cars is on.
Yes, guys. Yeah, got to stop for touring cars.
Exactly.
What a crazy time to deliver shopping in the first place. Do you know what I mean? Didn't he know any better?
I don't know if it was Gary's fault or Gary's partner's fault, but I blame whoever decided to make it at that time of night the delivery slot.
Absolutely. Silliness. But there you go. That cost him a championship. I'm sure there's many championships that, I don't know, David Coulthard had an awful lot of chances to win a championship, but I'm sure he never lost any by having to go and greet his shopping man.
Dan Camish the other year, didn't he? He had a massive brake failure, but he did have to go and meet the Asda grocery man to pick up his fruit and veg.
This is it. If Gary ever gets into a chat with Dan Camish, they'll have two very different stories about how they lost a championship.
How did you lose your championship? Oh, brake failure. What about yourself? Yeah. Oh, the missus booked the shopping.
Yeah. I had to get the frozen stuff in the freezer, otherwise it'd go off.
Speaking of Gary, I think he may have made a mistake. He was dropped to 4.5 seconds back. His car looks relatively okay. Nothing seems to be wrong with it. As I'm just checking at the moment, see the front view. No, it all seems to be fine. Just may have lost a bit of time somewhere this lap. John Boy started to pull the gap towards Andy, who's in P4. He's clear of Poke Leap as well, who's got Delore hunting him down. And with Delore, if he can get past Poke Leap in the next 3.5 minutes, Kelly, the top, the three in the championship hunting down Laney will be 3rd, 4th and 5th, so scoring decent points, while Laney is only P11 and is still about a second, 1.3 off the back of WSRCJ.
Absolutely. So, still all to play for. Only a couple of minutes left now, 3 minutes left. With Gary's mistake, Daniel might have this one in the bag. I doubt Gary's got the time to pull back 4 seconds.
Yeah, there you go. Look, Gary lost 1.1 on his last lap.
Yeah. He's going to struggle to drag that back, isn't he? That's for certain, sure.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm currently watching Xmart, who's
I'm with you.
Just fending off Nickthevilla and Vigla in this one as well. Probably the biggest fight on track at the moment, as Nick is looking one way, looking the other, trying to get a run down the inside into turn 1.
He's got a good run now. He's got a good run now coming in towards it. Oh, he's backed out of it.
Yeah, it's hard to go side by side in that turn 1, isn't it? Especially in the McGanns. We saw the BMWs doing it, but it is tricky to go side by side. Who's this getting involved as well? WSRJ isn't a million miles off this battle. He's going to cash in on this one as well in a minute.
Laney's with him as well, on the back of WSRJ, not too far behind. Look, there he is, just coming into shot. It's not a million miles away.
No, Laney would love to do this lot, before the end of the race. That would certainly help his championship along, but I think that's going to be a tall order as well. Although he is good friends with Xmart.
Xmart's run wide.
Yeah, gone very deep into that horrible hairpin, which is a hard one, isn't it? It's a difficult corner. It's a late apex on the exit, which makes it very difficult and easy to run wide. But Nickthevilla's done Xmart. Xmart's now under pressure from Vigla for the what are they fighting for? 8th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th.
7th, 8th, 9th, 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. So still going at it. Hammer and tongs, as you would. Every position counts. Everyone gets points all the way down to 15th, is it?
Do believe so.
Yeah, I believe so as well. So everyone's scoring points. Nickthevilla went very slow onto that apex.
Yeah, Xmart seemed to really. He did well not to plough into the back of him, to be honest.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I don't know if they did actually touch, but if they did, it was extremely light. Xmart must have been really good on the brakes, because Nickthevilla just parked it there on the apex, didn't he?
Horrible part of the track as well, though, Kelly. So you see the Xmart later on the brakes, or Nickthevilla not as confident through that section of track, because as you see now, he's already extended that gap back up through the bomb hole Coram and Murray's the final corners. They've come down the start straight now. Vliegurk is now looking up the inside of Xmart in towards Richards.
This track has got a couple of corners that are like that, hasn't it? A couple of tricky sections, like a lot of tracks have got maybe one tricky section, but this one's got a couple, really, hasn't it? Agostini is tricky, and the section there into Brundle is tricky, and the last corner is tricky. They're all one corner leading into another with those into Hamilton, into Brundle, for example. It's one corner leading into another corner, isn't it? So you're braking and turning, trying to slow the car down, trying to hit apexes, and try not to crash either.
And the sausage curb's thrown in there for an added insult, that if you really clatter into them, it just bounces you off them wide on the exit of the corner. So it's really a section of the track that you've got to get right. This middle sector is quite nice, left corners, right hand corners, but a bit of time to pick your braking zone in between, not sort of brake for Brundle, get it turned in, then what do you do for Nelson, get round the bomb hole and Coram, and Coram into Murray's is in particularly hard, as you're still turning right while picking up your braking zone, trying to brake as much in a straight line as you possibly can. As I do believe we're on the final lap of the race.
We are, yes, as Dan comes across the line to take the win. 5 seconds ahead, a commanding win for unorthodox. BMW's working an absolute treat in the wet. Gary comes across the line in second place in the second BMW. They are a long, long way in front of John Boy, which is the best McGann this evening, or the first race this evening. He comes across the line on the podium, third place. Andy's going to be your man in fourth. Good drive from Andy there. Good solid points. Comes across the line fourth, does some tricks as he comes across the line. That'd be more body panels for his mechanics to replace. Putney with a fair drive into fifth. wasn't it?
Yeah, just taking it from Delore there on the line. So good job from him. Nickthevilla coming home in P7 with Xmart just beat. Xmart and Vlee get 7th and 8th as Nick drops down to 9th on time penalties. WSRC gets 10th. Laney, championship leader, not the round he'd have wanted. P11. Lauder still trying to hold off the Greek at the very last stage of this race here, and the Greek obviously struggled in this one after kind of rear-ending Gary off. He never seemed to get back up that pace and get back on the rest of the pack. Come home 12th and 13th.
Yes, indeed. So that's your sprint race done. 2 BMWs commanding up front. I think it's going to be different in the feature race. We're going to take a very short break. Then we'll be back with qualifying for the feature race. And then, of course, the feature race. So if you're going to pop to the loo, get a cup of tea, whatever you're doing, make it quick. And we will be back very, very shortly.
Indeed.
The separation of talent and skill is one of the greatest misunderstood concepts for people who are trying to excel, who have dreams, that want to do things. Talent you have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft. There's no easy way around it. No matter how talented you are, your talent is going to fail you if you're not skilled. You know, if you don't study, if you don't work really hard and dedicate yourself to being better every single day. Make a choice. Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. I'm motivated by fear.
Has managed to keep it just ahead of Dwayne Buff at the moment as we're side by side here coming down the pit straight. Is Camber going to make this 3 wide coming towards turn 1? You can see there Dwayne Buff just trying to squeeze Emo Guy towards the right, giving him the middle of that space with 3 wide coming into turn 1. Camber very sensibly backs out of that one as Emo Guy manages to hold his position on the inside line and just about squeeze his way into the position there and maintains 8th place ahead of Dwayne Buff. Here we go, it looks like we're lights out here at Brands Hatch, and it's a good start there from Pole from BT Targa. And it looks like we've already got Fury coming down the middle here, coming towards Paddock Hill. BT Targa trying to fend off Sebastopano as he comes onto the brakes. It looks like he has held onto the lead just about, but Serts is hassling him as he comes through Druids. And we see there Fury's managed to get that position on Oakbar into Druids. Sebastopano very late on the brakes there. It looks like BT Targa's been pushed out a little bit, so Sebastopano's up into the lead. It looks like Fury having a look on BT Targa, but BT Targa managed to hold on to that P2 just appears. When BT Targa emerges from the pit lane, we know that a pit stop is around 25 seconds, and he's going to be very close with Rompu as he comes to the end of the pit lane now. Rompu drives around the outside of Paddock Hill and up into 3rd place, so that would have not been what BT Targa wanted at all. Second separating these boys. Thorsten did have a lead of about 3 or 4 seconds. He was pulling away to Zegan Milk for a few laps, and now he pulls out to the left-hand side. Zegan Milk has to leave the door open. We're going to go side by side here down the pit straight. Is Thorsten going to go for the move into the first corner? It looks like he does. He's up the inside, so Thorsten Borchardt getting that position. Side by side here down the pit straight. Oscar Style now has an opportunity to take this P2 position. We're side by side coming out towards turn 1. Oscar Style goes later on the brakes, up the inside. Elliot tries to undercut him on the exit. Still side by side, incredible stuff. Can Elliot hold it around the outside here, or is Oscar Style going to complete the move? It looks like Elliot somehow managing to hold on to that position. To go for the move. Both of these guys within about 2/10 of the car in front, as we see DeHuisRocker closing speed coming onto the brakes. So he looks like he's making the move up the inside here of Bunny Prevention, but he can't quite get it done at the moment. Lewis goes a little bit wide there on the exit, and it looks like he almost spins it. Very close there to losing the car. HRT Zeus is up into 2nd place, but DeHuisRocker was pushing a little bit too hard there in his quest to try and get ahead of Bunny Prevention. Bunny Prevention's holding on to the lead. DJPhilgreen lining Ratchet Ass up here, but he can't quite make it stick at the moment by the looks of it. And Unorthodox has got a fantastic run on both of these guys, but Unorthodox, you just saw, had to get out of it a little bit there because he had a great run. It was going to most likely end up in him driving himself into trouble, and we can see Ratchet going straight on there over the chicane. Unorthodox driving around the outside there of BTCC and up into 5th place, and Unorthodox is going to try and get Ratchet as well. He has indeed. That is brilliant stuff from Unorthodox in every way that he can. John Boy very much on the back of these guys now as they come down the pit straight. Oh, we can see there, it looks like DeHuisRocker getting a little bit loose there onto the grass, and now Little Lee just going to fancy his charges around the outside, and with 3 wide here coming out of the pit straight. John Boy trying to get involved in this action as well. In the end, I think surely Nickthevilla is going to back out. Yes, he does. But John Boy making a double overtake there coming into turn 1, and he's up into 6th place. What a move there from
pushing,
John.
you can tell
tell he's pushing. Look at the way he's driving the car. He's making sure it's got nothing left to give. He's absolutely ragging it round Ultrapog. He's got alongside Exmar as they headed towards the island bend. Gary will have the inside line, and Exmar's wide, and he's off. Can he keep it out the tyre wall? Indeed he does. Done. In fact, he's through, coming through the little chicane section there. And already going down the back straight, he's going to try and gain on the leaders as he's back up into P3. What can DeHuisRocker do? Well, that's RoadRacing Racing. Comes back at Zeus, and they've made contact. And somehow Zeus and RWI have stopped it from going fully round. But DeHuisRocker and Klaus Martini had to take avoiding action there. And that's DeHuisRocker just leading on RWI Racing, which will allow Klaus Martini up the inside. In fact, Klaus Martini's kind of forced RWI Racing wide there as well. In the background of this, Bod's looking for a bit of piece of the action, but can't find a way through past WI Racing then. G right on the back of John Boy. John Boy defending really well at the moment. This for the lead here. Can G take back-to-back wins on this Tuesday night? He's got the cut back on John Boy. That is textbook. Shoulders had a bit of a slide there, and that's allowed Motoring Morgan through. Maybe he will allow Little Each in the background. But G, textbook there. He's reached in the glove compartment. He's pulled out the textbook. I'm going for this move, he says, and he's done it well. He's had an absolute peaceful explosion down there as well. Richie's managed to get back up into P14, but G not having the greatest of starts here. Big Boy Bracey in a world of his own, and we've seen this so many times on a Wednesday night. Gary, I think, got forced wide by Sutty, who tried to lunge on Fury, and it didn't come off. Is this Emo guy trying to go around the outside of Sutty Apex, and Gary's going to look to sneak one up the inside, and Emo guy just comes back across. Gary gives him the room, and Gary's sliding up the inside and gets that job done, but now he's gone orthodubs all over the back of him. And for Motive Racing, they're teaming up on Gary here, and Gary needs to get in front of these guys and get away and get closer to Sutty, and you see him breaking late, very wide from Gary. Oh, is that Little Leach? Oh, it is Little Leach. Morgan now having a look up the inside of Gary. Little Leach is there. Morgan and Gary side by side down the start straight. Little Leach is going to make this 3 wide as they come down the start straight. And he's on the outside of Gary and Motoring Morgan. And this could be disaster going into turn 1. 3 to 1 does not work. But Little Leach around the outside of Gary. Gary sticks it there on the undercut and has got it done. And Little Leach around the outside has done both of them. Cracking driving from Little Leach. Gary's keeping it pinned in.
But he's now got Oakbar in front of him. Is he going to try and make a move on the exit of Curva Grande coming up towards second chicane? Oakbar tries to go defensive, but Civic's got the inside. It looks like Oakbar breaks a little bit later. Has he overshot the corner though? He almost did. It's a compromise for the second part of the corner, but Oakbar just about keeps onto the position by the skin of his teeth. Civic there in the end, not getting the run out of the corner. He would have been contact. Arnold Thubso has got a good run there coming up into Lesmo 1. He's got the inside and he's got the move done there on RaKiMaJe. Dan up a position. Brilliant driving there. Looks like he's got Shrimper and Ads right behind him here. Shrimper and Ads going side by side here, coming through the parabola. You can see these guys on the exit of the corner. Ads is going to have to slipstream with Mr. O a little bit, but Shrimper looks like he's got the superior straight line speed. Although maybe Ads now just picking up that toe from the car in front. Mr. O giving the toe to Shrimper also. Side by side still coming up towards the first chicane. Is Ads going to have that move around the outside? It looks like Shrimper in the end conceives that position. Ads is up into 11th place there. Good move there. Oh, Ads goes a bit deep into the first chicane though. He goes wide and that's giving the place back to Shrimper. So Shrimper there maintaining P10 in that little exchange there. Come down the pit straight here to complete lap 6 of the race. Maz making a look move to the inside, coming towards the first chicane. Shrimper leaves him in the space on the inside, and it looks like Maz is going to have the move done there on the brakes. He is indeed. He's up into 8th place, sorry 7th, trying to defend. It looks like he's actually been passed by Cinderella Tour, and is he going to find himself
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second half of the touring cars on a Sunday night. Tier 1 touring cars here at Snetterton 300. We are underway with qualifying for the feature race. Just had a cracking first race where the BMWs dominated in the wet. The qualifying session is wet, but I understand it's going to dry up for the feature race. I'm joined in the comms box, sweet and sticky as normal. Matt, how are you between the break? What have you been up to?
I went for a little wee.
A little wee,
got a coffee, sat down with a bag of Skittles, enjoying the typical British weather, light rain into torrential rain, with rumours that it should dry up for race 2. The BMWs could favour from this early rain here. We've seen how quick they was in race 1. So will that give them a bit of an advantage going into the start of race 2? We know how lightning quick they are off the start line. It is going to be a fascinating qualifying. And Emo Guy is back in the session with us, so good to have him in for the second race of the evening. Excuse me.
Absolutely, and lovely that you've got some Skittles. I'm really quite jealous. Taste the rainbow. We haven't seen any of the Prolapse drivers. That brings me on to you nicely with the rainbow. We've got a couple of Prolapse drivers in the race this evening. Unorthodox, Exmar and Laney, all Prolapse drivers, but we haven't seen any comments from any of the Prolapse lot this evening. We haven't seen any rainbows in the chat. So Prolapse supporters, where are you?
Yeah,
we
where
didn't
are
see
they?
you.
It's quiet tonight, isn't it? It is very quiet.
It is, isn't it?
It's quiet on the old chat tonight as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to know the qualifying record for around this circuit?
I would love to.
It was set by Tom Ingram in 2019 on 1 minute 54.7. We ain't getting anywhere near that in these conditions, so ignore that. The race lap record we might get closer to was set by Dan Camish in his good old Honda. It was a 155.6 in 2019 So, the good old Honda driver getting the race record.
Good old Honda driver. Yeah, absolutely.
First,
and after he...
the first British touring car race here, have a guess? What year?
Oh, first British touring car right here. I bet it was an early one. I don't know. 74.
59.
Wow. There you go.
1959.
1959. Wow, it's older than I am. Yes, Dan Camish, as you say, in the Honda, doing that stunning lap in 2019. After that, he went up and down and put some lovely lines in the lawns. Looked beautiful, it did, really neat and tidy. Just at the moment, surprise, surprise, it's a BMW on provisional pole position. But the man, well, I'm certainly the man I'm watching, and the guys on the stream watching, John Boy, is your man in second place at the moment with 6 tenths, nearly 7 tenths behind the BMW, as he takes a very interesting line, half grass, half track on that. That's an interesting one in the wet, wasn't it?
It's a nice strange one for him to take. I wouldn't be touching the grass if I was John Boy in these wet conditions, but hey,
absolutely not.
He's out there on track and knows what the conditions are like, and shock horror, he doesn't improve. Gary is a second, but the top three within a second, and then it's a good 2.5 back to Nickthevilla. Where's our championship contenders? Well, John Boy's second, Delorey's down in 5th, Laney's down in 9th. Laney really struggling tonight in the wet round set.
Yeah, he is.
Andy's only P13. He's having a bit of a shocker, 5.3 off the back of unorthodox. Lee, the only guy not to set a time yet. Ignore Matt, that's myself. With G on the broadcaster tonight, I'm having to sort of retire from the races. So ignore Matt on the timing screens. He's not P14, although arguably he'd...
he might well be, is that what you're saying?
He might, yeah. If I was on the wheel and racing in these, I'd have a guess I might be up there with Dan, but in the BMW,
of course.
There's a lovely Honda sort of Halfords-looking livery for the BMW, a nice orange that I'd have used as well, just for you, Kelly.
No, I was going. It looks more like the RAC.
It does, though.
The RAC livery that Colin Turkington took his first championship in, as I remember, and
just beat Matt Neal to it that year.
Sorry,
just beat Matt Neal to it that year.
He did, yes. He went on. I don't know if you remember. He went on to do a round of the World Touring Car Championship in that car. Around, he guested as we see Delorey going way off on the grass. He hasn't got a Honda.
Gary, P2, only a couple of tenths just behind Dan in that second BMW. We said it's a bit of a carbon copy of how they finished at the moment. Dan in 1, Gary 2, John Boy in 3. Just going back to Colin Turkington, did a round of the World Touring Car Championship in the British Touring Car that he won the championship at Brands GP, I believe it was, and was right up there with it. I can't remember where he finished, but I think he might have been on the podium. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds.
You go off here, go and look it up on the Google and see where they are. As you can see, Gary just coming into Agostini at the moment and pushing on. Gary and Dan, the only guys in the 2 minutes at the moment. This is all going to turn around for him if it dries up in the race, which we're pretty sure it's going to, because unlike the real world, Gary was very sideways around that Hamilton corner there, and Oggies as well, hanging the back end of that BMW right out. We know it's going to be dry, because the virtual world, you can pick the weather and choose the weather. What a fantastic thing you could do, isn't it? Get up in the morning, go on your PlayStation, and choose what weather you would like. That'd be great. Anyway,
sunny every day to make my back not hurt as much. Sunny and red hot to make my back not hurt as much.
Cornish weather every day. Sunshine,
beautiful down your end the other day when Dan sent me that lovely picture of you with your 2 fingers up for Honda. Yeah, it looked absolutely gorgeous down your end. He qualified 4th on the grid at Brands Hatch and finished 3rd in race 1 and 5th in race 2.
There you go.
Currently comfortably winning the independence class in both races. So yeah,
that wasn't bad, was it? That was quite good recall for myself there.
Do you want to know something else good about that season for Colin Turkington?
Go on.
He did Algarve and Bruno, as well as Brands Hatch, and finished 2nd in the Independence Championship, only competing in the 3 meetings, and finished 2nd in the Independence Drivers' Championship in the World Touring Cars, only racing at 3 tracks.
Yes, indeed. It makes me wonder. I mean, a few guys have gone. Some British touring car guys have gone on to do World Touring Car and done very well. James Thompson, Rob Huff, people like that have gone on.
Ivan Muller.
Ivan Muller. I mean, Ivan Muller is a legendary touring car driver, isn't he? Although he's miserable and French, he's really good driver.
Tarquini won it last year, the year before, at 54.
I know. And again, you don't have to be young to be a touring car driver. I don't know if you remember, Anthony Reid drove right up till 65, was he? Yeah. Maybe. I think he was knocking on a little bit, bless his heart, but he was still competitive. Plato must be knocking on a bit now, mustn't he?
50 odd, he's 50 odd. Yeah. Neil 55 at the back end of last year. Neil 55 at the back end of last year. So he was 54 last season when he was racing. Neil Plato, I think, is 53. 54 I think he might be now, because I think he's a year or 2 younger than Matt, so he's 53, 54 going into this season. It's a strange one, isn't it? Obviously the demands on a driver are, a touring car driver are very different to, say, a Formula 1 driver, with the kind of G's that Formula 1 drivers endure. This is obviously a little bit easier on the body, and I mean it's good because there's drivers with still that skill into their 50s. It's a waste for it not to be showcased, isn't it? And do you know the thing is, and I think you'll agree with me here, Kelly, no matter how much we have the banter with Mathew and Plato, is because they've sort of raced all their lives pretty much in the British Touring Car Championship. When these young guns come about and you think, we're a bit quicker than you, our reflexes are better, Matt, Neil and Jason Plato are sort of sat there going, yeah, but we know the trick of the trade. We've done this for 30 odd years. We against the Turkingtons and the Mullers and the Menus, the Rydells, the Thompsons, the Clellans, they know how it works.
Of course they do.
Which is why, all right, they're not at the pace they once was, getting into the 50s and knocking on a little bit, but they're still as quick as they're mid 50s. You're early 50s. You don't come into that category. You're all right.
I just came into that category. Thanks. Yeah, just this weekend come into that category.
But you know what I mean, don't you? They know the trick of the trade. They know the game inside and out, sort of thing. Whereas the young guns will be
experience.
They know what they're doing. Matt Neal could still pull off some of his late on the brake lunges that you see into certain corners. Still probably do it now. Jason Plato, he'll still park it on the apex and get a better traction out the corner than the car behind, because he's done it all them years. And it's for the up and coming touring car drivers that's got to learn these skills and learn the trade in the touring cars. It's not like the F1 where you get put in the best seat like Hamilton did in 07 and he was out front straight away. You've really got to learn your trade in the touring cars to be a quick touring car driver. It's not about what car you're in. As we see, we asked Sutton the other year, he won the championship in the Subaru, a car that lacked straight line speed and stuff like that. It was good through the corners and that was it, but still won the title.
It was quite frankly junk. On the other hand, you can have people like Andy Prio came in a couple of years ago, didn't he? 4 times, 5 times world touring car champion. did absolutely nothing. Do you know what I mean? And that guy can drive, you know.
Alain Menu come back the other year, didn't he, when the Passat come in, and, you know, multiple touring car champion. Mark Blundell come in.
Mark Blundell was a very, very reasonable Formula One driver. Very reasonable. Do you know what I mean? You know, as equally as good as, you know, the midfielders of now. Do you know what I mean? He was a strong midfield driver.
I'll throw another one out there for you, Kelly. Derek Warwick come into it in the Vauxhall team in the Super Tourer era. Was average, was all right.
Yeah.
John Cleland as a teammate, he was all right. You know, but he's come from an F1 background and he's come from Formula One into the touring cars, and you know, he did all right. That's what we've said, isn't it? The touring car, British touring car, is a different animal. Do you know what I mean? It is a very different animal to so many other series, and you know, for that, I mean, that's why we love it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's dogfight racing. It's you know, it's exactly what you want from a motor race, you know. And I mean, for me, the Super Tourer era was the, you know, was brilliant. But now we have so many people who can win a race. And session over? Look at that, chit chatting away. So surprise, surprise! In the wet conditions, BMW on pole, on Orthodubs on pole with a 2:07 and a 2:07. And Gary literally just a tenth behind. The only two guys in the 2 minute dead category. John Boy, the best of the rest, in third place. Andy, a good showing in fourth. Andy having a good meeting so far round here at Snetterton. Delore fifth, and Laney can do a bit more from sixth position. We're hoping. But it's going to be dry in the race, so I feel the BMWs will get away fast. But they might get swamped as we go on through this one, don't you think, Matt? I think they might do. We'll have to see on what happens at the start and how they can defend and maybe work together in this race. Gary's still on a lap. Of course, the biggest one we've just been on about in terms of F1 to touring cars is good old Moustache Mansell himself.
He didn't find it easy, did he? No. As Gary goes very wide, I don't know if this one's going to be quicker. If it is, it's going to be. I mean, he was pretty much sideways out of the bomb. I went all the way around that thing. Is he going to go faster and put it on pole? No, he doesn't. No, unfortunately, he doesn't go quicker. The only other person, Delore, is coming over to cross the line. He's going into the pits.
He's going into the pits.
Yeah, Emo guy still on track. Looks backed off, and he. Yeah, so looks like we're all done. That is your qualifying done. So yes, you're quite right. Nigel Mansell was another one who was he couldn't quite make that transition. And quite famously couldn't make that transition. But 19 days to go, Matt.
I know, buzzing, absolutely buzzing. As on Orthodubs, then your pole sitter from Gary by a tenth, 6 tenths clear of John Boy, and then really quite a spread back to the next car, which is Andy. Delore Lady managed to get P6 out of all of that. Now watch these BMWs at they start, as I will retire now from the session. Watch these BMWs at the start. These will be like a rocket ship.
Yes, indeed they will. Of course, we're standing start on this one. This is a conventional standing start. Mandatory pit stop, 19 laps. Pit window opens on lap 6. Every guy's got to take a mandatory pit stop. Don't have to change anything. Don't have to put tyres on. Don't have to put fuel in. Don't have to repair anything. But they do have to take that pit stop. So it does play into the strategy. But yes, I think the BMWs are going to be quick off the line. But then watch out for, basically what we got: John Boy, Andy, Delore, Laney, all those guys very capable of catching these BMWs in the dry. So,
let's keep an eye on Laney as well. Obviously, he seems to have struggled in that first race. Not the best of qualifyings for him as well. Only P6 behind all of his championship rivals, Delore, Andy and John Boy. So let's keep an eye on him throughout this one as well. And watch for Exmart, P14 from the back of the grid. He's got more pace than that, so let's see what he can do for coming through the field.
Yes, indeed. I think you're quite right about Laney. Going to be interesting to watch. Is it just a wet thing? Because he's not handling, is he not doing very well with that McGann in the wet? Because it's been a all wet session up till now. Now let's see how he fares in the dry. 6th position. It's not too bad on the grid. He can make places from there. And certainly challenge for a win from that position.
Indeed, he can. We are just waiting these drivers to ready up before it will be lights out. Standing start for this second race, so we'll have to see what can happen. Did you catch Toto Wolff speaking with Sky Sports earlier?
No, I missed that.
Was mentioning, for those who haven't watched the F1, spoiler alert, after the incident, was on about it was more like a Clio Cup race than an F1 race. I'm not sure he's ever seen a Clio Cup race, as we're about to go racing, Kelly.
Yes, indeed. And we're away.
Oh, Gary!
Dan with a shocker of a start. Did Gary jump that, or did he just have an epic start?
I'm not sure.
No, I thought Dan was slow off it, but he seemed to pick up when he got the car going. Gary seemed to move a lot quicker, and Gary's challenging Dan for this one. These two need to be working together and getting away as fast as possible, because they are going to get absolutely mobbed by these Renault Megans as we go on. So Daniel still leads for the moment. John Boy is in third place, but he's got it's not Delore comes up into third. It's Delore and John Boy are going side by side as they come down, and Gary all up over the grass, kicking up the dirt, wringing the neck of that BMW early doors. Dan's the first one into Agostini, and a couple of Megans fighting behind John Boy and Delore. Let's move our camera view, because that's more where the action is at the moment. But everyone clean through the start from what I can see. Exmar up to 10th. He had a cracking good start. Yeah, absolutely.
Great start from him. Andy's dropped a couple of places as Laney's moved from, so has Delore, up into P4 for Laney. So Laney's got off the line well. And Gary here is being bombarded by John Boy and Delore. John Boy's had a bit of a slide and wow! Into the slide. Oh, and there's Laney!
Oh no!
Contact with John Boy into Delore, and as he bounces off of Delore, then gets caught up with Laney. I didn't quite see what happened there. But when John Boy started to lose the car, I think he just lost it on the grass. Bounces off Delore straight, then sort of puts him in the path of bounces off Delore into the path of Laney. Then and Gary's now back on the path of Dan. Emo Guy and Andy capitalised on that up to third and fourth. Where is Laney? Laney's 8th, Delore's 12th, John Boy's down in 14th, and the BMWs here have got a good lead. Pit window is lap 6.
Yes, it is, Gary. Pit window is lap 6. We did say that, I think I don't think John Boy did anything wrong there. He just kind of lost the back end and managed just to collect up both of his rivals there. Just one of those things, I think. But it's made a mess of Laney's race. Who is? Putney's in the pits.
Putney's in the pits.
What would he be in the pits for? No, wrong
pit window not till lap. Potentially.
Yeah.
Pit window's not till lap 6, and obviously there's no damage on here, so I'm not sure why he'd need to pit, and he's out. So maybe a drive-through penalty.
Possibly.
That was a quick pit stop. So
it
wasn't a
tight pit.
Dan is off.
Oh, Dan's off. Dan's gone. What has happened to Dan? Dan is off the track, dropping down the order. That's coming through Palmer's, and he's now down to P8. So if him and Gary had contact, there does actually seem to be a bit of a scuffle on the rear left of Dan's car, a bit of a black mark on the rear of Dan's car. But Gary leads
I don't know
this
what
race
happened.
then.
Don't know what happened from there, but I think he's the BMWs do not have the same sort of pace in the dry, so we'll see where Daniel ends up. That put Gary out front, but he's got Emo Guy, who had a cracking good start and capitalised some other people's incidents, and he's up into second with Andy in close company. But they're now going to have to chase Gary down, and all things being equal, they should be able to do it, shouldn't they, Matt?
I reckon so. Gary's quite good round here. I've seen Gary round here a lot of times, and he is very, very. He does love this Snetterton circuit, so they're going to have to work hard to get past Gary. Indeed, Andy and Emo Guy really capitalising on John Boy's new pinball game. Bounce off of Delore and Laney in the walls. They've capitalised well here. Dan's down in 8th, so we'll see his pace through the field now that it is dry. Obviously, that could really hurt Dan later in this race. Delore, John Boy, and Laney. Where is Laney? Oh, Laney's back up into 5th. So Laney's made some moves here. Delore and John Boy really losing out at the moment. Yeah,
good recovery so far from Laney. As we give you an on-board shot, there we go, as we're on with Andy, who's following Emo Guy just through the first corner. Moves to the outside, having a look, see what's going on in front. Emo Guy goes very wide. Andy gets very close, nearly touches him as they come into whatever that corner's called. I don't know what that one's called, to be fair. All these corners, incidentally, are all motorsport related. As we go Palmer, that one. That would be Jonathan Palmer.
Yeah.
I presume that's Jonathan Palmer. I think he owns the track, doesn't he?
He owns
a lot of
Vision, who owns
that's right. Who owns
circuits.
Yes, this and Agostini. This one here, as we're not big fans of, as a weird exit into Hamilton, which
and not named after Lewis.
Is it not? Who's it named after then?
I don't know. It's been Hamilton for a while, so I don't know why it's Hamilton.
I thought it was Lewis. I'm pretty sure it was Lewis.
Is it for Lewis? Because I know the Silverstone's now named what the start straight, the Hamilton Straight or something.
Yeah, I think it is Lewis Hamilton. To be honest, that's my feeling.
I'm on it.
Yeah, feel free to Google it, and we will see. Where are we? Gary, 3/4 of a second. He's always. We see Nickthevilla in the background getting very, very sideways as he can. And X-Mark goes wide. Where's X-Mark gone? He's gone there. He goes very wide onto the grass. They're all struggling.
It is Hamilton. It is based on Lewis. You are right.
It is. Yeah.
Sorry. Sir Lewis.
Yeah, Sir Lewis. Sorry, Sir Lewis. Yeah, absolutely.
Sir Lewis Hamilton MBE.
That's it.
Brundle is for Martin Brundle. Palmer is for Jonathan Palmer. Williams is for Sir Frank
Williams,
and then and Walker is for Murray Walker. Where's Walker?
Yeah, it's there somewhere.
It's not on the touring cars website. I've got the track map in front of me and I can't see it.
The first corner's Rich's, because they do say him. If you look closely, it does say him behind all the.
Yeah, it does. Bar the hairpin. The hairpin is recently changed.
Right.
Oh, Murray's. The final corner being Murray's.
Murray's
Walker. So Murray's is based off of Murray Walker. Hamilton is for Lewis Hamilton, and then we've got Martin Brundle at Brundle and Jonathan Palmer at Palmer, and that is why the track names are that.
Yes, indeed. So there you go. Some sport trivia for you. This one, Agostini, which is after the food mixers, of course.
The Agostini one is for. I'm never going to try and pronounce that first name.
Yeah.
Giacomo Agostini.
Italian, isn't he?
Yeah, some Italian that won the 1972 Snetterton Race of the Aces on 2 wheels.
There you go. I knew it was a motorbike rider, but I didn't know. I couldn't pronounce it. I don't do motorbikes.
The back straight is called the Bentley Straight, obviously for the car manufacturer Bentley. Yeah, I think that's about it. Montreal is because the new 300 circuit bosses took inspiration from many of the greatest motorsport circuit. Montreal, the venue for the Canadian Grand Prix, so that's why the hairpin is called Montreal, because it's based off of the one at the Canadian Grand Prix, which sadly has lost its place on the calendar this year for the F1.
Do you know what? I hadn't noticed that. I hadn't noticed that at all.
I only read it. It came through as breaking news the other night. Yeah, it's lost its place. They were on about replacing it with Turkey. I don't know if anybody knew that one.
Oh, no. Well, there you go. Yeah, you heard it here first. I didn't know that's a gutting, because I really like Canada. I like that track.
Me and Dan love Canada.
Although, it would be nice to see Turkey back, because that's a good racetrack as well.
Turkey is a good racetrack. Yeah. Just to say, by the way, Gary and Emo Guy's pace here, and Andy's and Laney's, are all quicker than Dan Camish's race lap record. So well done, lads. You are smashing the lap record set by the indestructible Honda, as Laney still 4-6 seconds off the back of this battle for the lead.
I love the way you make a statement like that and then go and say so, and then go back to the racing. Indestructible Honda. Sorry, was that the Honda that he lost the championship in because the rear brakes went? Or the brakes went? Is that the one?
Yeah.
That indestructible Honda?
He pushed too hard for me, like my.
Well, in the indestructible Honda, indestructible means indestructible if you don't push hard or not, doesn't it?
Matt Neal didn't have a problem.
Well, there you go. So Gary still leads. With Emo Guy all over the back of him now. Let's swap to that, because Emo Guy's having a look down the inside. He's going to have a crack down into this. God, here he goes.
Nelson.
Thank you, Brundle and Nelson. How is it we've said that about 20 times already and I'm still not getting it? Brundle and Nelson, but Andy's right in there as well. This is quite a battle going on as Emo Guy looks to try and get the inside line before they get to the last corner. This is a weird one. You're turning, braking, trying to pick up the apex. Gary looking around the outside of that. To be brave to try and get that position back.
Do you remember the famous moment that happened there when Plato turned Neil around and on the last lap? Shed the race,
yeah. Right on the last corner, was it?
Andy's got the run on Gary, and in fact, Gary will keep the inside line going in towards Richards here. But Andy's still having a look round the outside. Gary will be up the inside for the defence, coming into the what was the Montreal hairpin, is now the Wilson hairpin.
Of course it is, yes, and which I don't think is anything like the Montreal one anyway. But there you go. Why is it called the Wilson one now then?
I don't know. It just says Wilson.
It's not Justin Wilson, is it? Justin Wilson, who because we tragically lost him in IndyCar a few years back. Then he had a fatal in IndyCar a few years back. Justin Wilson, nice character. Used to be in Formula One as well. But I wonder if it's named after him, which would make a lot of sense. But finally, as I predicted, the McGanns did catch the BMWs. The McGanns are the quicker car in the dry conditions, and
Gary has a bit of slipstream here, though, Kelly. More importantly, Gary has a bit of slipstream here to maybe keep himself up with him. Pit windows open this lap.
Yes, indeed. So let's see how Gary fares down the Bentley Straight, and see if he can gain some of that time back. But
Laney's lost a place to Nickthevilla just there as well. Sorry,
it's all right. You're only reporting on the race. That's what we're supposed to do, is it not? So, yes, indeed. Yeah.
And he's lost a bit of time as well. Lost nearly a second.
I wonder if he had a slowdown on that one.
Yeah, potentially. He did seem slow when I just flicked to him, and he's really caught back up through Brundle and Nelson now. But Laney, he's just not seemed. Laney's a quick kid. He's a quick guy.
Quick.
And he's not seemed to have it tonight, has he?
No, as Nickthevilla's just passed, just let him pass, really. Again, I don't know if Nick had a slowdown or let him through or what, I don't know, but he certainly just made that very, very easy for Laney, for sure. So, I don't know you're right, I think Laney just doesn't, I don't know if he's just not in the groove. I mean, he's a firm bet for this championship, is Laney. He's coming to Motive last season and just absolutely blew the doors off.
Smart John Boy and WSRCJ in the pits.
Yes, indeed, you're quite right. So pit is open on lap 6. Those guys are in the pits. There you go. You can see what's left of John Boy's after he played McGann pinball earlier and lost. And just behind him, WSRJ gets away a little bit quicker. So obviously these guys fall to the back, but they've now made their pit stops. Everyone's got to do it. Mandatory pit stop for all. When they choose to do it between laps 6 and 18, it's completely up to them, but it must be done. So those guys have got it over and done with. Some people choose to go early, some choose to go late. Blah, 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 really. As odd as it is even, really. Andy now on the back of Emo Guy for the lead. Right, yeah. Gary's still keeping him honest a little bit. He's falling behind a tad, but not
a second slower than the last lap, and he's at the pace of the BMW. As Andy's looking for a move here up the inside of Brundle, can't get it done, so he tucks back in at Nelson. Emo Guy just on the curb a little bit, and with these two
he went in deep. Yeah,
that's done it. Look at the run he's got through the bomb hole here. A tricky place.
Yeah, as Ian went in there, I thought he ain't going to make that, or he's going to run wide, and Andy certainly capitalised on that, and has made it stick. But Ian won't give that up straight away. He'll certainly chase Andy back for that one, and okay, giving Gary the opportunity. Gary's gone in the pits,
pulling the undercut here, maybe.
Yeah, maybe so.
Lap 8 now of 19, and these two leading by some stretch over Laney. Laney's 10 seconds off the leaders already here. So, and he's not dropped Nickthevilla either. Look, Nickthevilla's not far off the back of him. He's, he's really struggling tonight. And you said a moment ago when we was on about Laney, that whether he's not been in the groove tonight or something. And for me, Snetterton is one of them circuits where you've got to be in the groove.
I agree totally.
If some part of your driving that night is off, Snetterton is the kind of track that will punish you for it because it is a demanding track to get every bit right. And Snetterton is that kind of circuit that will hurt you if a bit of your racing is off that night. And that seems to be what's happening with Laney.
I'll agree with that totally. And again, I haven't had any real results around here, but I certainly found when I started driving this track, I found it extremely difficult until I got into a flow of it. And then it kind of came a lot easier then. You know, it's like you kind of, at first you don't click with the track, and then you kind of find that groove. And then you find that you enjoy it a lot more. And Snetterton is very much one of those. You're exactly right. It's one of those, once you get in the groove, it will pay you back. But if you're not in the groove or you're having a bit of an off night, it might not be for you. And maybe maybe that's exactly what it is for Laney tonight. Maybe he's just not feeling the Snetterton track.
Not feeling the track, or something's just not quite right. He's just not in the zone. Something's irritating him tonight, and it's and like we said, this track is the kind of track that will bite you on the bottom if you are not to get the best out of it. You can get away with certain tracks like Donington Park and Silverstone, Brands. You can kind of get away with making a few mistakes. Around here, not so much.
No, indeed. As we swap back to John Boy, who's made his pits in his very beaten up Renault Megane with lots of bits missing. He's made his pit stop, so we'll see where it all ends up for John Boy. Of course, he had that incident at the beginning. That's why his car looks like that, which lost him an awful lot of time. But we'll see what happens when the pit stops shake out and where we are from there, really.
Dan's not showing his progression here.
No.
Sort of saying what the BMW is capable of. Gary's up to 6th as Lee's pitted. But Dan, I don't think, has been in the pits yet, as John Boy's got the run on X-Mart here, coming down the straight towards the first corner. So, good run out of Murray's for John Boy. But yeah, Dan, again, does this just show the BMW's pace? I mean, a 2-minute lap last time round, Gary did a 59.8 and Gary pitted. That was his out lap for Gary. Dan was a second slower than that on a normal lap. So maybe a mistake here and there. But in the dry, and this has been the BMW's thing all season, Kelly. In the dry races, it just cannot do anything.
No, both Gary and Dan are capable characters, but the BMW is just seems to be hard going in the dry, doesn't it? It comes alive in the wet, but in the dry, it's a very different beast, and it's a real shame about this game that they don't have a bit more choice on the touring cars. Although we are looking forward to a new dedicated touring car game coming our way soon.
2022.
In gaming terms, that is soon, isn't it?
Yeah, we're nearly halfway through this year when you think about it. Only 2 months halfway through the year, so we'll be there in no time. I am absolutely buzzing for that. I think that's why Mathew's taking a year out. Take a year out, come back next year, get yourself on a game. Bosh, done.
That'll be it. It would be interesting. I don't know what platform that. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be on the newer. Dan. He got what deep there, didn't he?
Yeah,
Dan got very deep. And John Boy will capitalise on that. John Boy's moving forward quite well at the moment. He's caught up to the back of Dan really quite quickly. So we'll see how this progresses for a lap or two. To be fair, this is the pretty much the best scrap on track at the moment.
Really, the only one. The Dan and Unorthodox and John Boy, and then X-Mart and Glory just behind. Really, the only little scuffle on track.
Yeah, I don't know if Ian's made a mistake because he's now 5 seconds back from Andy, so Andy's dropped him a little bit. I don't know if
look at the last lap times. Look, a 53.9 for Andy last time round and a 57.2 for Emo Guy. Or, I mean, that's either an indication of he's had an off, or I know when you get a time penalty on this, it adds on to your lap time. As who's asked DeLore
on the crack X-Mart.
Yeah, he sort of pushed him wide a bit, but gentlemanly get on the brakes to let X-Mart keep his position.
Yes, indeed. They both came into there really hot and then kind of stopped, didn't they? So, John Boy still trying to find a way round Dan. I think it is only a matter of time on this one, to be fair. This Megane is like a Merc with DRS. He's going to go right round it in a minute.
Delore's just had another go on X-Mart there, Kelly, and again ended up in the side of X-Mart.
Oh dear. Both of these Yeah, both of these guys going at it. Delore and Xmart going at it. Xmart, Mr. Consistent last season. He is the reigning touring car champion here on Motive. Not having the same kind of season. The luck's not falling his way or whatever, but certainly Mr. Consistent is Mart as John Boy. Oh, did he give Dan a nudge? Did he give Dan a nudge as he went in there? Because John Boy was very deep. Oh, look, and that was a bit as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a bit. And I'm just looking back on the stream here, and I think John Boy leaned on Dan a bit and pushed Dan across the corner there. I definitely think John Boy leaned on him just looking back at the stream. So a bit naughty there as Laney's made his pit stop. The Greek is in the pits. When is Dan going to come in for his stop? Not yet. He's going to keep going at the moment then. So that's released Nickthevilla into third. Lodder's up into fourth. Gary's up now into P5, but he's gaining on the back of Lodder. And Gary doing a top job here. Like we've said all season, the BMW doesn't look the same in the dry as it does in the wet. We've said it all night as well as all season. Yeah. But Gary here doing a good job. Lodder's not yet pitted, and Gary's catching him before his pit stop. So it shows how Gary's being able to get the best out of that BMW tonight. Obviously, Dan had that earlier spin. Has just had a moment there with John Boy not being able to get their best out of it in his second race. But Gary, obviously, and I've said it twice tonight, he loves this circuit. He feels comfortable at this track. That helps. When you're in a car that's not performing, but you turn up to a track that you really enjoy and you really can get on with, it really helps get the best out of the car.
Yes, indeed, and it's as I said earlier, Gary's been in this car for quite a few seasons as well, so he's very, very familiar with it. So as Delore goes wide at Hamilton, lets Xmart off because he hadn't passed him, but he was certainly fighting with him. He goes wide and he gets to fight another day after that one, still trying to chase Xmart down. For what are they fighting for? 9th position, Delore and Xmart at the moment. I was wrong earlier. I said it was points down to 15th. It's actually points down to 16th. So with 14 on the grid, everyone scores points. Yeah,
Gary's got past Lodder. Just looking at the timing screens, Gary has got past Lodder then.
Yeah, he certainly has. We didn't see that one, but Gary up into 4th place, and he's made his pit stop. So Gary in good position for some strong points.
Good night again after a strong Silverstone with a first and a second. He's following it up here with a strong Snetterton as we go back to Silverstone for the National next week. I do believe the touring cars are at the National track.
Confirm that for you in just a moment when I get on my very professional notepad clipboard. Yes,
you have
it's Silverstone. No, I have a clipboard actually.
Oh, I have a notepad.
I know you do. You've got a Toy Story notepad.
Toy Story notepad.
Yeah, I've got a very professional clipboard that says 71 events on the back of it.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. I very rarely use it, but I did just then.
I very rarely use the Toy Story notebook, but apart from a Wednesday and a Thursday night. But yeah. It's only full of racing things.
An insight into what happens in the commentary box.
Yeah, it's how professional we are, folks. You may see your ITV and your Sky Sports. These guys get professional things and tablets and TV screens to look at.
Who's to say that Crofty hasn't got a Toy Story notebook? We don't know.
I mean, we don't know that, but he's got all their monitors and gadgets inside his commentary box. He's probably not. This is how professional we are. We've got a clipboard and a Toy Story notebook.
Yep.
Well, let that one sink in, viewers. Toy Story.
Yeah.
That is how childish this is. and you'd think it could be one of my kids'. It's not. I bought it purposely for me.
Purposely for you. So you went to, I don't know, Dan drops it, he's dropped it again. Yeah. Dan just overdoing it a little bit. It's a couple of places he's going to go back there. Spun it all by himself.
Jay's had a moment there just behind Dan as Dan was rejoining. Jay's had a horrible moment through there as well.
Yeah.
Dan, I don't know what's going off race 2 for Dan. Not his race.
No, he had a cracking race 1, but it's not panning out for him race 2. Currently in 10th after a couple of spins. He ain't going to be happy in the cockpit. We certainly wouldn't want to hear his chat right now because he's probably cursing like mad if I know Dan like I know him, and I do know him.
Now, is Dan trying to keep up with the amount of spins Mazepin has in a weekend, or
I don't know. Poor old Mazepin, didn't he? He was involved in an incident today, wasn't he? What was he involved with? But it wasn't his fault, was it?
Latifi sort of had a spin.
Latifi, that's it. Yeah, Latifi basically come across and didn't see him. And, yeah, it wasn't his fault this time. When the incident happened, I'm going, oh, Mazepin again. 2 races, give it up, lad, and all the rest of it. Then it wasn't his fault. But there you go.
Williams got the money to pay today. Let me tell you, that's going to be a hefty. That's not what the team would have wanted.
No, 2 crashed cars, 2 really smashed up cars. Not
What is it with George Russell and Imola? It doesn't seem to go his way. Do you remember last year?
No, he dropped it, didn't he?
Behind the safety car, span as he was reheating the tyres. And then he comes here and you think, oh, they're looking strong. And you think maybe a point or two.
Position.
Point or two.
Yeah.
And no, not to be.
No, I feel that incident was a bit 50-50 myself. Do you know what I mean? I think George went and had words with Bottas, as those who've watched it, and Bottas gave him a reply.
Didn't he? And Bottas went, I'll take one of them, please.
Yeah, just the one. Yeah, the middle one.
Yeah.
Talking of F1, have you heard about the new track for next season?
Yeah, Miami next year.
Yeah.
From Emo Guy. Street circuit. Snooze fest. I'm sorry. Gary, hold the rear, hold the rear. He's done it, he's held the rear, he is Tokyo drifting. I tell you what I dislike, right? We've gone to Imola and these other tracks last year, we've gone to Imola today. Imola, great race today, I thought. The weather made it interesting. Yeah. Brilliant race, a lot of action.
Yes.
And we've announced another street circuit. And I just think, why not
Formula
bring
1 cars
back these older tracks? We had Nürburgring, Portimao, Imola, Turkey, all got brought back because of COVID last year. You see Silverstone every year, cracking racing, and I think, why not race these tracks that are epic? You see great races, the old school circuits. Instead, we're going to Saudi Arabia at the back end of this year. We're going to Miami next year. We may be losing Canada. Now, all right, Canada might get replaced with Turkey, but if next year Canada doesn't get replaced by anything and it's just gone, why?
The street circuits, as you say, it's going to be a parade. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be single file, no overtaking, because there won't be the opportunities. Formula One needs big wide tracks. Imola is a classic. Absolutely. We had a great race, but it's not well known for overtaking. So
the other thing, though, Kelly, as well, is it's for me personally, the history of the circuit. A lot of today, like you watch the build-up and where Russell and Bottas come together, and a lot of it got mentioned of Senna and Ratzenberger. You know what I mean? And that tragic weekend in '94. Yeah, the history there, and you feel it. Yeah, you go to the British Grand Prix, Silverstone. The history of Silverstone. Yeah, brilliant circuits. Monaco, I will give an exception to. Monaco's got the history. It's been there for a while. I'll give that credit. The other street circuits, for me, get rid of. You don't need them. Let's go back to Manicourt. Let's go back to Turkey. Let's go back to Imola, and let's keep it Algarve. Let's get back to Nürburgring and Hockenheim that provide these races. That's an old school sort of circuit.
Well, the only one for me, the only street circuit for me, which is particularly good one, is Baku, because it's got that very, very, very long straight.
Yeah, but apart from the straight, you've got that tight castle section where you're going to do. You're not going to overtake at the castle.
No, it's ridiculous. Get the car through there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a ridiculous part of the track, and I just think it's unnecessary. We don't need it. We can go back to these older tracks that can, that was built better for these kind of venues and stuff, and was built better for racing and overtaking and stuff. And Melbourne is technically a street circuit, but in the way that there's grass and gravel on the outside of the corners, you don't get that street circuit feel of Melbourne. Do you know what I mean? Albert Park feels very much like just a regular track, and it's brilliant. If street circuits was more like Albert Park, I'd be well up for that, because someone said to me earlier that it's proven that if they run wide on the tarmac, they're not actually as quick as running through the gravel. I argue that fact. I think a bit of gravel, if the driver's made a boo-boo and gone off, if he buries it in that gravel, he's made an error, he's out the race. Unlucky. punish the drivers. Let's not go, here's 50 feet of tarmac, you can go very wide there but still rejoin and carry on your race.
You have to be punished for your mistakes.
Yeah.
You know? The concrete tarmac runoff is just not punishing for the mistakes. I'm with you. Gravel traps back all the time. You know, they need to be, as I said, the mistakes. You know, the idea is to keep the car on the track. You know, not if if it goes wrong, well, I'll just go across the tarmac and get back on again.
Yeah.
That's not the way it is. Just to change things around a little bit, apparently, according to Jamie Brazier, Crofty's got a Finding Nemo notebook.
Well, hold the phone.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, innit?
Me and Crofty, massive Disney fans. Who'd have thunk
Massive
it?
Who would have thought it? Yeah, absolutely. You know, and Kurt V. They have a tree in the first hairpin shaped like a man standing with his hands in the air. Have a look.
They do.
Right, sorry, Kurt, but everyone who follows touring car actually knows all about it, my friend. It's called
the Scary Tree.
It's called the Scary Tree. We have mentioned it before. I've spoken to Kurt a little bit. He's from Belgium, and where Delore and Pootney and Vigga are all friends, all Team Camber, they call themselves. So we will let you off for not knowing your British touring car circuit history. That tree is also, as we said, is called the Scary Tree, and blew over last year in 2020, and it's no longer there, Kurt. But that is the...
we should have seen the signs. The minute that got blown over, we should have been like, damn, this is going to be a right crappy year. And who'd have thought it was?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah, that was the omen that we should have.
That was the bad omen. We should have seen the signs then, as Emo Guy and Andy decide to come into the pit from the lead. Laney is gaining on the back of Gary here. Lauder, I don't think, has pitted yet, while we've been sort of waffling on. Laney is gaining on the back of Gary at this precise moment in time. As there goes Lauder into the pits.
Lauder goes in. Yeah, Lauder goes into the pits. These guys have only got they've got to do their.
Gary jumped in. Gary's jumped in, and Laney will jump in.
Yes,
so Emo Guy,
wow.
Struggling there. Emo Guy being jumped by Gary and Laney. So good job from these two guys on their pit stops.
Yes.
9 seconds off of Andy then.
Laney's looking tasty for putting a move on Gary as well. He could well put this one on the podium.
Do you want, while I can't bring it up on screen, because obviously with GB in the broadcast, you want to take a quick rundown of the penalties?
Oh, yes, please.
Andy has a 2 seconds, Nickthevilla 1 second, Laney 6 seconds worth of penalties. Emo Guy has 1, Xmart has 3, Delore has 2, 13 for Jay, unfortunately.
Wow.
And I can't see the rest. Well, I can't see the rest. Hang on.
Nickthevilla and Vigga.
The Greek has 4 and Vliegek has 4 as well. Nickthevilla. Where is Nickthevilla? He has 1.
Yes, indeed. We've got Laney's having a crack at Gary, but he's lagging all over the place as well, sliding from one side of the track to the other. He's got in front of Gary and is now in the podium position, but Gary's not giving it up yet. He's in the slipstream as they come down.
Gary's only got to come within 6 seconds of behind him to get that position back. As Laney here, he's just kind of forcing Gary a little wide, runs a bit deep into Nelson. Gary could have the run through Nelson, doesn't manage to get the traction out of the corner, and Emo Guy's right on the back of these. Ian with only 1 second's worth of penalties. That's a bit easier for Emo Guy to get in front of Gary and pull a bit away as he goes up the inside at Coram. Gary just running a little wide, so Emo Guy doesn't need a second invite to that one, but Laney here, 6 seconds worth of time penalties is really going to hurt him.
Yes, indeed. Emo Guy's like a rat up a drain pipe. He's like Matt Neal. If you give him a half a sniff of a pass, he'll be in there and done, and got it done nicely round in the inside of Gary. But Gary hasn't given it up. Gary hasn't given it up, has he? Gary's going down the inside into turn 1.
Backed out of it.
Backed out of it, and probably didn't have the run. So Emo Guy in net third at the moment, net second at the moment, with Laney with that penalty, and Gary still on the podium, to be fair, with that penalty as they stand. Laney 6 seconds. That's an awful lot in a motor car race.
It is at the moment, and we'll have to keep an eye on him, because if he's got 6 seconds, he's possibly liable to get in a few more time penalties as well in that one. So we'll keep our eyes, I'll keep my eyes, should I say, on that time penalty screen and see if he gets any more. But Gary's now although Laney's done well to get past Gary and start to pull away, Gary's now got to get back on that pace of what he did to jump Emo Guy in the pits to stay within that 6 seconds of Laney. He'll be able to see what the time penalty is. Oh, he's just touching the curb and nearly lost the rear. He's done well to hang on to that.
He's had a lot of moments like that tonight. A lot of moments like that where that back end's been just hanging right out. And
if there's one thing I can tell you about Gary is he loves to leave it all out there, and he'll wring the neck out of the car. No matter what you see him driving, and he'll push it as far as it will go. So the back end out like that is just typical Gary sort of driving. Not that it always works. We've seen it work.
We have seen that, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen it not happen or come off a lot of times, but that's Gary's typical driving style, to be fair. He leaves everything out on the track.
Yeah, there we go. There you go. You've heard it from us. Gary's style is to hang it all out on the track.
Do you know I saw a comment on the stream earlier, by the way? Didn't say it.
What was that?
Ode Bethany. Hello.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Gary's racing. Beth commented. Surprise. Shock.
Wow. Well, it's only because KLF 900 isn't racing, because we know she's a fan of...
massive Kelly fan.
Massive Kelly fan. You'll have to wait to the new season on Simplay to see KLF. I was going to say in action. Action is probably the worst. Going around the track. Is probably
depending on the action. Racing,
yes, indeed.
Racing at the front, maybe not. Getting caught up in a few incidents, potentially. That's more. Well, yeah, it seems more like this scenario.
Seems to get I seem to have good starts and then get magnetised to people who want to have an accident, and usually take me with them. So we'll see how we fare in GT3s later in the year. I'm looking forward to that, so that should be interesting.
It should.
Just trying to last in next season.
What was that, Ian?
You're racing in the next season simply.
Yes, I am.
Oh, it'd be good to have you on track.
Just looking down the pack here, Kelly. John Boy's on the back of Nickthevilla, quite close as they've just come through Agostini. And also you've got Xmart, Lodder and Unorthodubs in the background. Delore, Xmart and Lodder in the background. I was going to say Unorthodubs, and then I realised he was 10 seconds off the back of these guys.
Right. Yes, indeed. As it looks like Andy has had a cracking race. He's just come through the bomb hole. Just to finish off the last bits of laps.
We're on the last lap. Oh, that's flu.
We are, mate. Yeah.
That's flu.
Yeah. Done it. Wow. You know, it's like when you're having fun. Time flies.
Yeah.
As Andy comes round the last corner.
It's always fun when you're about, Kelly.
Oh, thank you, darling. Going to take another win for Andy, and a cracking win at that.
Has that got his championship back on track, beating Laney twice, outscoring him? Has that got his championship back on course, do we reckon?
Wow, Laney comes across the line in second, but he's got that time penalty.
Yeah, I think
so Emo Guy goes up into second as he goes across the line. Gary goes up into third. So Laney ends up in fourth after that penalty. He's far enough ahead to be in front of Nickthevilla, who's just going to get nailed to the line.
He's been overtaken by John Boy.
Yeah, by John Boy. John Boy takes fifth. Nickthevilla's going to take sixth. Delore is just ahead of Xmart. Those two have been fighting all the way through. So Xmart has to follow Delore in. And who have we got? Unorthodubs. Dan is going to be 10th place in the BMW, in the other BMW. And WSRJ is a massive penalty, isn't he? Got 13 seconds, has he?
Something like that, yeah. He's lost out to Potney.
Yeah, going to lose out to Potney, and I don't know about Vigler. Vigler's quite a way back. Well, and there you go. That's your lot.
Hudson just said in the chat, hello, honey and custard. It's sticky and sweet.
Yeah, sticky and sweet. No, well, yeah, honey and custard's where it came from, isn't it? But we're we're sticking with sweet and sticky, aren't we?
Sweet and sticky.
Sweet and sticky in your box. So, race results. Andy is your man who won that one, won the feature race. Emo Guy in second place. Gary in third. Laney fourth.
Good night for Gary.
It was a good night indeed. Some strong points for Gary in the championship. Laney, another championship contender, ends up fourth. Better race for him there. John Boy is fifth. Again, what could have been a third place in the first race. John Boy on a recovery drive after playing pinball ends up fifth. Nickthevilla in a strong sixth. Lauder in seventh. Delore, we're expecting a bit more from Delore and Xmart maybe, but they finish 8th and 9th. Dan in the second BMW ends up in 10th position. We'll round out the rest of the the runners. WSRCJ in 12th. Putney in 11th. WSRJ in 12th. Vigla in 13th. The Greek in 14th. And your last man across the line. So, there we go. Matt, what have you got to say about that one?
Andy picking up some good points over Laney tonight. Does that bring him back into the championship contention? Let's wait and see. Yeah. With only 2 tracks left to go, Branch GP and Silverstone National. So he's got work to do. Good night for Gary. Good night for him. 2 podiums after 2 podiums last week. What a shame that the championship's not gone his way earlier in the season, because he could be in for it again. Maybe he's had to get the shopping at times, and that's why his pace has been a bit off. But we'll never know. Yes, and a driver of the day from you. I'm going to have to take Gary on his 2 podiums. I think to get a podium in the dry in this BMW is hard work. So the fact he's been able to do it, hats off to him.
Yes, indeed. And I think I'll agree with that, to be honest. Gary, for my driver of the day as well, came through the pack in the wet to catch up Dan and podium in the dry. Yeah, good solid meeting for Gary. Good racing from everyone, as usual. We move on next week, round 7 to Silverstone National, same time, same place. Big thank you to all the team here at Motive and everything that they do. Not much more for us to say, really. Thank you for you guys watching. We love to have you around. Do the liking thing, the subscribing thing. You know how they all get off on it. So just do it and make everybody happy. But for me, thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you next time here on Motive.
Good night.